Hi there. My name is Christina Luna, and I have an energy report for you. This energy report is going to cover August, even though we're already at August 19th. I'm going to talk about the August setup, and then I'm going to take it through the eclipse season through to the end of September. I'm super, super excited about this eclipse season, primarily because I have tons of planets in Virgo, and I believe that this eclipse window is going to be a really beautiful initiation into our wholeness. And it's ultimately going to bring us to a space where we really honor and value who we are, why we exist, why we're valuable just for existing, and how we can cross-pollinate our unique self with other people to officially co-create from wholeness. I know it sounds super lofty, but I really believe that's what's happening. I feel it very experientially in my own life, and I've been witnessing it in my clients, and I see this for the world, and I know that part of what I do is witnessing and observing these patterns and these shifts in consciousness for the collective. So this is my small contribution to what I'm witnessing and what I observe. So I want to start by saying I believe that Cancer season may have felt a little extra this year because of Jupiter's entry into Cancer. I believe that we were really opening ourselves up to the vulnerability of our reality, really opening ourselves up to let more sink in, let truth sink in, let emotions sink in, just really understand what it means to be a vulnerable living human. And I believe it set us up perfectly to enter into Leo season this year. Leo season this year gave us it gave us a lot of unstructuring, to be honest. I think it kind of warped and dismantled a lot of the things that we thought we stood for. I feel like it asked us to unhook ourselves from things we were previously towing, unhook it, free and liberate our expression, liberate our body, liberate our identity from the old, from the past, so that when we decide to really lock in again, we know we're locking in from a place of love, of heart devotion. There was a good amount of fire. And the good thing about fire is that it burns off things, it puts pressure onto things so that if it's not actually committed to with the heart, if it's only committed to with the head, it won't stay on. It won't stay. It will fall off. And so, whatever is still in your life at this point, congratulations. Your heart actually wanted it to stay. So, I hope that that's where you're at right now. I will say that the very first week of August with the Lionsgate energy, I'm not going to go into all the Lionsgate stuff. I actually believe that people are really powerful. They can create fields of energy, and those fields are real, even if there's not a very specific external objective reason for certain things. The power of humans giving energy to fields makes fields feel real to the people that believe in those fields. That's all I'm going to say. That is true literally about everything. But for now, let's just say, so we have this super, super big emphasis on what does your heart want? What does your heart want to manifest? What is your heart committed to? Blah, 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 all the things. And that might have caused actually a lot of disillusionment. Putting that much pressure on yourself might have had you asking, I don't even know. Like, what do I stand for? From August 3rd to the 9th, we were asking ourselves, what do I stand for? What do I actually care about? Is this right for me? Is this authentically what I care about? That would have been such a huge question. And if there were things in your life that you didn't authentically care about, you may have endured a bit of an identity crisis. You may have just been like, I don't even know. I don't even know. What do I value? What do I care about? So there would have been a time between the 10th and the 16th where maybe you found yourself floundering in that question. Many different options flying through your life, many different demands onto your schedule that you had to attend to so that you could decide, do I even have the energy for that? Do I even want to attend to that? And the answers would have hopefully made themselves very clear through that week. I hope that the 12th, when Venus and Jupiter came together, you felt something that your heart actually cared about, and that clarified what you are no longer giving your energy to and what you are, from this point forward, putting your energy into. So by the 15th, you would have gotten your heart and your focus into alignment. That's Venus North Node in a trine. I care about this and I'm going to focus on it. So lots of new behaviors may have clicked into place by the 15th. And then now we're into this week. We're at the 19th. Today, specifically, the sun is in a trine to Chiron. There's some awareness around a pattern that maybe previously wounded you, a pattern that was confusing to you before, a pattern that made you question your worth. There may be some clarity today that can shine light on that pattern. And hopefully, you've accumulated so much self-acceptance, so much self-love that the new self-awareness that this observation brings doesn't decrease your self-love at all. You can actually love yourself and love yourself some more. You can see that there's no shame in this pattern. You just didn't know as much before, and now you know more. And when we know more, we can love more. So I hope that that's the way you're receiving this, because as we move forward through the week, there's another aspect to this where truly our heart, we're not just witnessing the thing. We're not just aware of the thing. We're truly loving the thing. Venus in a square to Chiron. And maybe on our path to loving, we're noticing the spaces where we had blocked ourselves from loving that. Like, oh my gosh, in the past, I blocked myself from loving that thing. And I have a choice now. I have a choice to grow beyond my resistance to loving. So we open up, we no longer resist, let's hope. This is the high, this is the trajectory I see. We open up and we accept and we grow our capacity to love. And this gives us even more energy to do the work necessary to heal the pattern. So the sun will enter Virgo on the 22nd, right when we get this awareness, and we'll also have a square to Uranus. So the square to Uranus says, with more information, the more I know, the more I can use that data and information to course correct in a way that's even more loving. I'm going to pause here. I want to tell you, I just created, before recording this video, I created like a 45-minute long video of my personal experience of all of this. And it's exactly these things. And I kind of went off the rails in my personal story a lot in that video, but I wanted to point you to it in case you're watching this video first, because there's quite a bit that you might be able to track in your own life from hearing someone else's lived experience. And I'm bringing it up right now because Uranus is in Gemini right now. When Uranus is in Gemini, some of the most revolutionary things that we can do is share our lived experience or listen to someone else's lived experience and have it move us. Gemini is a space of personal truths, personal opinions, personal recipes. It's It's the personal mental construct that each ego develops. Basically, it's the personal worldview of each person, yourself included. Everyone has Gemini somewhere. Um, right now, our personal story has a chance to go through a revolution with Uranus in this place, and it will do so for the next 7 years. So, if you're feeling like someone's personal story may serve you in understanding your own story or in changing your own story, please feel free to partake in my personal terrain experience video that's already live on YouTube. Um, and you might find yourself inspired to share a bit more of your personal story. So you might find yourself doing that around the 23rd and the 24th of August because we've got a Sun square Uranus and it's a mutable square. So this is when things actually shift and change inside of you. Your beliefs start to change. The beliefs changing changes the behavior. When your identity changes, your behaviors change. When your behaviors changes, your beliefs change. When your beliefs change, literally everything's changes. That might be the other way around. It might be identity, beliefs, behaviors. It doesn't matter. Everyone's got this triad somewhere and it's all a feedback loop. So try it on for size. Let yourself change. Let yourself do that fine tuning. And you may find that this gives more space to your personal unique self to express who you are with even more permission. Venus will move into Leo. It'll be in a trine to Saturn and Neptune. This is a fire trine. This is passionate. This is exciting. This is Venus in an MMA class, loving how much power she has and feeling like it's actually fun to use her energy to punch and kick as hard as she can into those bags. So I perceive that the 25th is this like opening point for energy to be expressed. And it starts to give you a bigger picture perspective of what could be possible now if this surprise new way of expressing yourself has now arrived safely, then what else is possible for you? What opportunities will this grant you? So there's an opening of kind of a future reality that has been incubating. We had these outer planets moving into Aries, Neptune and Neptune and Saturn, they both moved into Aries to try and cultivate kind of a new era in our lives. And even though they've been retrograde for a few months, kind of stalling some of the progress we perceived, it's because we needed to go back and regain some of that energy, heart, and strength from parts of ourselves that kind of were laying dormant before. So we bring it forward. We see now that we are willing to do the behaviors and have the dedication necessary to build a new paradigm in our lives. On the 27th, we've got a Venus opposite Pluto thing. This is a fixed opposition. That means that we are able to stabilize a new pattern, a new frequency. We're able to stabilize what we're doing in a way that will completely end an old vibration in our lives. So let's say that you started some kind of habit on the 13th of August. Let's say you started something. You kept doing it and committed to it through a couple of weeks. By the 27th, you will see actual tangible results from that new behavior you committed to, and you're never going back. It'll be a moment where you're like, never going back. This is my new, this is it. So Pluto gives us an ending to an old frequency or vibration so that we've got space for the new one. Then we get to September. Oh, by the way, from August 17th to the 23rd, the words are, I stand for this. Like, you got to stand your ground. You got to hold the front. You've made some changes, hold the front. It'll stabilize the new pattern. It'll build new neural pathways. I'm standing for it. Then on the 24th through the 30th of August, we understand how masterfully we chose this. Like we start to feel that mastery. And that's that whole Pluto Venus opposition I was talking about. Like, now that I've chosen this, I'm not going back. I've masterfully chosen this. So that will enter us into September. Now on September 1st, Saturn will pop back into Pisces. It was in Pisces like pretty much from 2023, 24, and then it was like for the last couple of years, it was in Pisces. And I imagine that over the last couple of years, you visioned, you got dreams, you connected to your soul, you thought about the big picture, and you thought this was the year that that big picture was going to actually begin to tangibly manifest, and it has to a degree. If you look just 1 year before now, if you look at your life 1 year ago, you probably were nowhere near where you are right now. I imagine so many changes happened in the last year that you're in a completely new landscape. And even though it's not exactly all the way where your vision for your life had imagined, it's definitely on trajectory. It's definitely moved toward that direction in a meaningful way, even though maybe some things needed to be unhooked and unhinged and strengthened and resolved and incubated, blah, blah, blah. That's how it is. That's how growth is. We don't just keep moving forward all the time. It's a rhythm. It's like waves, like forward and then pulls back. And that's the rhythm. So we're in a rhythm where it's like, but you're always further along than you were before it pulled back the last time. So we get Saturn in there, and it's giving us a period of time during this eclipse window to reconnect to that big vision North Star again. Like, what did you think you wanted to do again? All right. So then that first week of September, we are asking ourselves, all right, let's inventory what we have so far and see what we're working with. So you may find yourself in the first week of September actually looking at your money. This is how much money I have. This is my accounts receivable. This is my accounts payable. These are the resources I have to work with right now. This is how much time I have. This is my schedule. This is where I could probably optimize my time. This is a chunk of time I could probably use. So you inventory out all of your resources and make it so you can see them all. Then on this, from the 7th to the 13th, also, wait, hold on. There's some things here. Did I miss? Okay. The astrology. I'm not even talking about the astrology. I'm kind of just describing what so while you're inventorying, Mercury will be in Virgo. It'll help you be really like methodical, thorough, detailed. You can like make a little tally and a checklist. Mercury loves that stuff, especially in Virgo. So on the 2nd, you might just have all of your little lists and pens and everything all laid out to do your inventory. Okay. The 3rd, there's a mutable square and a water trine. This is a shifting day. Let's say you have your list. This is the day where you're like, okay, you're going to use what you have in a new way. You're going to be reallocating your resources in the ways that will make the most meaning. And you're going to let it flow where it needs to flow. The flow will be facilitated effortlessly. If you allow it, it'll be obvious if you've done the inventory, it'll be obvious that you have the resources to flow where you need them to go. Then on the 4th, Mars square Jupiter, this is a cardinal square. You're going to need to now put some behavior behind your new plan. All the plans are fantastic and great, but if you don't actually put your behavior into it and put your, like, do the math in your equation, so you're going to have the energy to do that on the 4th. And you might have come against two forces that are at odds with each other. To be honest, these forces, one part of you is going to be like, I just need this. It's Jupiter in Cancer. I just really need this to feel safe. I just really need this to feel nourished. This is a non-negotiable. I need to have this. And Mars is like, that's fine. Let me just, in Libra, let me do the math on that. I'm sure there's a way to move forward with this, and thank you for bringing it to my attention. Let me balance this equation and do the math on that because I'm fairly certain if you want to have chocolate lava cake and still be in a calorie deficit and still reach your protein goals, there's a way to mix egg and cottage cheese with a stevia sweetener and some cocoa powder, put it in the microwave, and make yourself a delicious lava cake. And guess what? It's going to be very high in protein and very low in fat and calories and carbs, and it will taste decadent. Jupiter is the chocolate lava cake. Mars is the recipe that, no, Jupiter's not the chocolate. Jupiter is the desire for chocolate lava cake. Mars is the recipe to make a chocolate lava cake that tastes as delicious as Jupiter wants it to taste, but also reaches the goals. So that's actually a real thing. That recipe, that's actually real. You can look it up. And I tried it. It's delicious. It's ridiculous how delicious it is. And so there might be something in your life that's like that. You don't have to sacrifice one or the other. Be honest about what it is you deeply want and desire, and utilize your smart mind and tools to make it so. Create something new. That's what a cardinal square can do. It can create growth through action and honoring both sides of the equation. Okay, the 6th, Uranus will begin moving retrograde in Gemini. It just got there, but it's going to start moving retrograde because it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Before you let all of these other stories that everyone else is sharing, before you let all of their opinions change your landscape, you really need to honor your own landscape again. Like, what is it that you believe? What's your experiential truth again? So it's going to give us a moment to make sure we're really in clear and strong relationship with what our story is. Then we have an eclipse. This is a lunar eclipse. It's a North Node eclipse. It's in Pisces. It's on the 7th. We had an eclipse kind of like this around the 20th or so of September last year. I was very attuned to it. This Pisces eclipse is a compassionate eclipse. It's it's connecting you to the soul field. It's connecting you to the biggest picture possible. Like, on a long enough timeline, what actually matters to you? Like, let's have some compassion. On a long enough timeline, what are you really doing here? That's what it's asking. And hopefully you find a true soul answer to that question. And that week, the entire week, we're in this bubble of the question because first there's the eclipse with the sun and the moon together. Or no, the sun opposite the moon. The sun is in Virgo, the moon's in Pisces. Then we have the sun opposite the North Node on the 10th. Then we have Mercury opposite the North Node on the 11th. And then we have the sun and Mercury coming together in a cazimi on the 13th. So from the 7th to the 13th, there's something coming together between heart and mind, coming into alignment, bringing us into absolute clarity with our North Node, saying on a long enough timeline, what really matters to me and how am I living my life in a human body, moment to moment, in a trajectory that honors that. So the words that week are, I feel deeply invested in this. I feel deeply invested in this. I live deeply invested in this. That's what's being answered the second week of September. And then from the 14th to the 20th, this is a big week. It's a big one. I'm gonna take this a little bit at a time. So first of all, it's a King of Pentacles. It's the very last expression of mutable earth. And it says, I share my abundance. It says, I share my abundance with you from wholeness. Look at my kingdom. Look at what I've created. Look at what I believe in. Look at how I'm in integrity with what I believe in. Because I'm in integrity with what I believe in, because I've asked my soul what's important, and I live my life by that, I now am living in a state of congruence, of coherence. And from coherence, I am now a living fountain of abundance, abundance of energy, abundance of presence, abundance of love, attention, focus, time. And I'm here as a fountain to share it with you. And so first, we have the Gemini square moon. That's going to be the first crisis on is everything I said just true? Is it true? Well, is that your story? Is that the meaning you're making about this? So you're going to ask yourself about your meaning. On the 16th, we have a fire trine and a cardinal opposition. The fire trine is between Venus and Chiron. So Chiron's involved with both of these. And the fire trine is I passionately honor and love the worthiness of who I am. And Mars will be opposite Chiron. It's a cardinal opposition. Mars in Libra, Chiron in Aries. Okay. Mars, remember that Mars is like, we can solve this, we can balance this equation because I passionately accept myself exactly as I am, and I want to contribute my medicine, Libra, Chiron. I want to contribute my medicine in our collaboration with each other. I'm going to take responsibility for my part of this pattern because I love myself and I have a higher level of self-awareness. And even though I'm more aware of my patterns, I still love myself. And the more I love myself, the more I'm able to love you. I'm going to take accountability for my part of this equation, and I'm going to bring my medicine, which is essentially my authentic, like, presence, my authentic truth. And that's my abundance. That's my gift. My gift that I get to share with you is the truth of my healing, the truth of my medicine. Mercury opposite Saturn, Saturn's retrograde. That's a mutable opposition. Whenever we get new information and whenever we share that new information with others, ultimately we grow, we change. It changes our mind, it changes our chemistry. And so there's a learning that's going on here. On the 18th, Mercury moves into Libra, and it learned something internally that helped to complete something. It filled in a gap. It solved the equation. The equation becomes complete on the 17th. Then it moves into the space where we're ready to cross-pollinate and share that completed equation with others. And we will do so with a cardinal opposition between Mercury and Neptune. So this could be like spiritual channeling. Like, let me share what I'm seeing. Let me share what I'm understanding now. So you might be able to expect a video from me recorded around the 18th of September. That's ripe. It's ripe for that. And then the 19th, we've got Mercury trine Pluto. It's an air trine, and we've got Uranus trine Pluto, also an air trine. Listen, Air trines are like expanded awareness, expanded thought. Like this is a surprising new epiphany that blows your mind. Like information finally lands. It starts to really tell a new story. It's really changing your vibration. Things that, whatever this epiphany is on the 19th, it's just once it's, have you heard like once you know something, you can't unknow it? Once you know whatever you find out on the 19th, you can't unknow it. And it changes everything. And when you know differently, you begin to feel differently. Venus square Uranus on the 20th. That's a mutable square. Venus is like, oh, I know something now, and I have a higher level of integrity with myself now because now Venus is in Virgo. And she would really love to reshape and retell her story. So you may find people admitting that now with this new information, the story has changed slightly and they want to kind of share what that feels like now. You want to share what that feels like now. Um, okay. And now we're in Libra season. So Libra season is bringing well, it's bringing a sun opposite Saturn and it's a solar eclipse. The 21st is another Virgo new moon. We've got a Virgo new moon on the 22nd of August. It's at the end of this week. That's like one bookend, and the second bookend is on the 21st of September. These two Virgo new moons are like the pillars of the initiation cycle of Virgo season. And so that first one sort of puts us into the motion of owning what we're doing, owning who we are, inventorying, and now moving forward. I believe that whatever we move forward with, we finally have some whole tangible evidence of that with the new moon eclipse. And we're really committed. We're committed to this path. We're committed to our wholeness. We're committed to our integrity. And as we accept this commitment, we move on the 22nd into Libra season, and Mars moves into Scorpio. So something that was really balancing equations in our lives is now protecting the equation and creating transformation with it. So Mars loves being in Scorpio. We could feel a lot of power in our lives, power in our wholeness, power to serve because we've just gotten out of Virgo season, power to enter into co-collaborative, co-creative relationships with others. And on the 23rd, the sun is going to have aspects to Neptune, Pluto, and um, yeah, Neptune, Pluto, and will it have Uranus too? Okay, I think it's Uranus. I've got like two Neptunes here, but I'm fairly certain it's going to have aspects to all of the other outer planets. So pretty much this is another inventory day, but inventory from all right, let's look at the budget. How did we use everything? So I'm going to be collaborating with you. How am I using my resources with you? What am I bringing to the table with you? How are we going to bring our resources together to create something whole and new? And probably a lot of really big decisions will be made on the 23rd and 24th. And I believe that whatever you are forging starting on those days, it's going to have very long-lasting results. It's going to be a very long trajectory of collaborative, creative power. So be aware of what types of unions you want to fully commit yourself to, because these days will have you prepared. Um, this is like the portal of marriage. It's the portal of when people, the archetype of marriage is that two whole pieces that have complementary and synergistic parts come together to die to their individual selves, so that they can transform and create something new. And so we're in that process of deciding what we want to commit ourselves to for transformation so that something new can evolve into our reality. And that brings us to the end of September. That was, yeah, like 35 minutes. That's pretty good. If you watched the other video where I talked mostly about my own experience of all of this and what I have been doing over the last year and like what I see will happen now in September, and you now have watched this one, at the end of that video, I talked about a podcast that I could potentially be co-creating. And now that you've seen this one and you hear all the astrology, you can see why I believe that type of podcast might be really interesting and why I might be ready finally to be that prolific creator. And maybe by that time, many people will have owned their own maps and their own life experiences to the degree that they're really ready to share those. So I think now that you've seen both videos, you can understand what my whole picture looks like. And I hope that that gives you some clues to feel really confident in leaning into the things that are developing in your life. All right. Thank you for sticking through this video. I hope that you save this video. I hope that you refer to it several times over the next month and a half. I am going to be recording the last quarter readings for all of my clients during the month of September. And I'll be available for personal readings again in October, but probably not until then. If you're the kind of person who feels you would love to have personalized quarterly readings from me, please leave a comment below or DM me. You can go to my website at lunation.live. To be honest, I don't even have like a place for people to sign up for that. They just have to contact me. I do. I'm running that all like behind the scenes so I can really control the volume because I didn't know how much I could handle and I didn't want to go over capacity. But if receiving personalized readings is interesting to you, just contact me and let me know how to reach you, and we can create something for you. I am honored to serve you with these videos, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye.